Alrighty, welcome everyone. It is finally time. It's been, I want to say 14 months in the making, but Kitsuo Dusk of Time is receiving its buff patch. Roughly halfway through a rotation of a set, it receives a number of buffs to perhaps some underperforming archetypes or beloved cards that didn't quite get there, and it is Kitsuo's turn. I am the designer of this set, so I had a vested interest in making sure this did good. This buff patch is coming alongside Error in the Weft. Sorry, Errors in the Weft also getting its buff patch at the same time. I do believe Dr. Chipmunk, the designer of that set, is making a video for that one as well, but I'm not 100% sure, so you'll have to wait and see. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into the biggest change of the patch. Ninjutsu is dead. Ninjutsu is being swapped out for Sneak from Canon. It's very similar to Ninjutsu in that you can return a creature to your hand to put a creature onto the battlefield tapped and attacking if that creature wasn't blocked, but now it is a cast trigger, which means it is affected by counter spells, spell doubling, like creature spell triggers, like Beast Whisper, for example, would work, and all of those are now going to synergize with Sneak. I did enjoy the sort of activated abilities theme that some ninjutsu lists are running with, but Sneak is just a lot healthier in general compared to ninjutsu, more interactable, and that's kind of where I wanted the mechanic to be. Okay, let's get into the very first card changed. It's going to be Aonuma, Princely Traveler. The main change here is it no longer grants creatures ninjutsu, it now grants them Sneak, and it doesn't just give it to creatures, it now gives it to all non-land cards. So you can return any unblocked creature to your hand to cast any card that costs 3 or less for 2 mana with Sneak. I don't think this is going to be a huge change for Aonuma. Aonuma's already struggled to see play outside of like land balance shenanigans, but I think it is going to be a nice little bump to, be able to cast literally anything with him. So yeah, could be good. Next we have Urushi Shigane Heirloom. Before, Urushi reduced the cost of your ninjutsu abilities, but since that's gone, I decided to go ahead and just rework the entire slot rather than just making it reduce Sneak abilities, because Urushi was really never good in the first place. So now, instead of reducing Sneak abilities, it now rewards you for playing cards with Sneak, because whenever a creature control enters, if it is in your main phase, you may attach Urushi to that creature, and whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. So it is a curiosity on equipment that free auto-attaches to your ninjas sneaking in. If you're running any flash creatures, this is going to work with them as well. I expected this to be a pretty strong card in the ninjas deck and maybe elsewhere. Next we have Auspicious Return. Just before Kitsuo entered the format, Auspicious Return was nerfed to be an upkeep trigger because it was really, really disgusting with the card Army of Tracks from Theros Age of Tracks. But now that Theros is rotated, the curators are willing to try moving Auspicious Return back to an end step trigger. So I am very interested to see if anyone can take advantage of this. The main idea here is obviously you get a powerful ETB, pull it back with the ETB on Auspicious Return, and then flicker it again to get another copy of that ETB. I think it's going to be really potent if it manages to work. Next we have a little interesting change. Brutal Throat Crusher is getting nerfed pretty bad. It's going from a 3-mana 4/4 to a 4-mana 3/3. It's going from a rare to a common, and now instead of untapping the creature it gives indestructible, it puts a +1/+1 counter on it. There was a card that I wanted to elevate to rare from common that because I was reworking Brutal Throat Crusher, right? Because this effect has never been very good. And I came up with a new effect that I really liked, but I felt the art didn't fit the new effect very well, so I decided to swap some slots around. So now Brutal Throat Crusher is going to be a draft common, and a card later is become a premium constructed rare. So you're going to have to stay tuned to see what that is. Next we have Commander Tachibana. Now, me and others have railed against the many issues with the Exalted archetype in Kitsuo, or really Exalted in general. It's just it doesn't lend itself to constructed very well, but I had to throw the Exalted deck one bone. So, Commander Tachibana, the attack trigger tripler, now has Exalted herself. So, whenever you attack with one creature by itself, it will get +3/+3 along with all of your other attack trigger effects. Dynasty's Benediction is a low-key change that I think is actually really exciting. It's going from a sorcery to an instant, which I think is a really big change for the cycling deck, but also just control decks in general. Having this powerful 1-mana cantrip that can upgrade into a draw 4 late game was a strong proposition early, but sorcery speed did hamper it a little. But now that you don't have to tap out to cast it, it's going to be a lot more powerful as a cantrip option. Emperor Zuhan was one of my most adored cards at the initial release of Kitsuo. But, unfortunately, it didn't quite get there after its nerf due to combos with Transgressive Trendsetter and other creatures that generate mana upon entering. So with that in mind, he's now being lowered in cost to a 2-drop, making him a very exciting flicker engine. For just 2 mana, you can start using your cyclers to flicker your creatures and return them on end step. Very cheap for what is potentially a powerful engine. Next we have Expert Bladework. This is a total rework because the previous version reduced ninjutsu ability costs, and obviously we don't have ninjutsu around anymore. So I decided to make it, instead of a 1-mana cantrip, a 2-mana cantrip, because we don't really have a lot of those compared to our very large swath of 1-mana cantrips. Expert Bladework has been reworked to be 2 mana instant. It has Sneak for 2 mana, and it says draw 2 cards, then discard a card unless the spell's Sneak cost was paid. I expect this to be a pretty solid design. I mean, 2 mana, draw 2, discard 1 for instant speed is honestly just a really good rate on its own, and the ability to not discard a card if you use the Sneak is potentially pretty powerful. It can even be considered a draw 3 if the creature you're drawing has a nice, powerful ETB. Sorry, not the creature you're drawing, the creature you're returning. Fable Woven Kitsune is perhaps the change I'm most excited to try as a Stompy aficionado. It is becoming Fable Woven Seishin, a wolf spirit that is losing 1 mana and its mana cost to become a 2-mana 2/2. Whenever a land you control enters, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, and if it's the second time this ability has resolved this turn for this creature, it gains trample and haste until end of turn. This is basically just becoming a sort of Bristly Bill side grade. We already had something similar to a Bristly Bill in the format, and now this is going to be a second copy of Density, so maybe we see some sort of Teamer landfall package, or we see decks just tech into 2 colors and see which of these is better. Gate to Fujinobe is getting a very simple change. Its big expensive activated ability is going from 4 to 3, so it's going to be able to dig for a little less mana. Perhaps my favorite change is Kage, Cursed Conqueror. Old Kage was a really fun design, but it was so bad. And for what is the main villain of the set, not the main antagonist, but the main villain, I really wanted Kage to have a little more constructed pizzazz. And while the Grizzleband ability is exciting, it was not very strong. So now, Kage has this following text. It's a 7-mana 7/7 still, and it still has lifelink, but when Kage enters, you may have target player's life total become 7. If you lost life this way, draw that many cards. So there's still the aspect of paying life to draw cards, and now you can also just set your opponent's life total to 7, setting up potentially a fling combo or a haste combo to just win the game. Master of Stances is the common upgraded to rare that was mentioned earlier. It's now a 3-mana 3/3 human ninja. It can't be countered. It has Sneak for 2 mana, and creature spells you control can't be countered. A bit of a Prowling Serpapard type slot for ninjas. A 3-mana 3/3 uncounterable is not a bad stat line, and giving uncounterable to all your creatures is obviously nice as well. I'm interested to see if this helps ninjas beat the control matchup a little bit. And speaking of cards that might help with the control matchup, we have Nimble Mentor. Green, blue for a 3/3 creature human ninja. It has flash and flying, and when it enters, if it was cast, you may exile a creature, instant, or sorcery card with mana value 2 or less from your hand or graveyard. Copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Buy back your negates, your overrule wills, anything in that vein. If you have removal spells, you can buy that back as well. Any of these are going to be great to grab. You can just grab a ninja as well. All of these are potential targets to be grabbed by this and cast at instant speed for free. And I think that could have a lot of potential. Portal to the Spirit Realm has basically been completely reworked. It's now 3 and a green for an enchantment saga. It still has time loop. The first and second chapter now say you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. And then chapter 3 says double up to 1 target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. It gains trample until end of turn. It's a little bit of a pod. So we now have a sort of birthing pod in Revolution. I don't quite recall if we have any others, but we do have a green one now. This one is going to trigger twice, so you'll be able to pod something twice, and then you'll get that potent chapter 3 to go ahead and make your big creature big and hopefully swing for the win. Ribbon Dancer is perhaps one of the strongest changes. 3 and a green for a 0/0 creature human ninja. It has sneak for 1 and a green. It enters with 3+1/+1 counters on it, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a counter from it. If you do, draw a card. This is Ninja of the Deep Hours for green. So this is going to be redundancy because we already had a blue ninja that could draw, but now adding a green one is going to give the deck more card flow that it might have been missing after the changes. Sakura Dance is getting a big change. It's going to become 4 blue for a legendary enchantment. Whenever you discard a non-land card, you may copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Do this only once each turn. And it also has cycling too. The point of this change was partly to make it synergize with Dark Horse Victory. You already kind of wanted to run Dark Horse Victory if you were running a cycling deck, and this is going to make it even better. And now it's a bit of a smaller engine, so you can just kind of play it in a normal game and turn it into a really powerful card. Stuff like Dynasty's Benediction, which just got a buff, pairs really well with this. Secrecy has gotten completely reworked because now the creatures that you play with Sneak are cast when they enter, so old Secrecy did not work with this. So now the reworked version says whenever you cast a creature spell, if it isn't one of your main phases, draw a card. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. And whenever you attack, you may untap up to 2 target lands you control. So we got a little bit of ramp and draw whenever you cast a creature spell during combat or during an opponent's turn, and whenever you attack, you just untap 2 lands to help get that mana flow going. Another small change is Shigane Elder. This now reduces itself just for each creature that attacked in the turn, so you no longer have to try to dodge a removal spell on your attacking creature before you have a chance to sneak. It also reduces the base cost of the creature as well. Maybe perhaps a meme no longer. The Godtree Chimes has gone to 2 mana from 3. It now only triggers once each turn whenever you cycle a card. But I do think the 2 mana is going to do a lot to help it just be a little bit stronger than it was before. And finally, we have Tsubasa Shigane, the face planeswalker of the set. Tsubasa is losing 1 power and 1 toughness on his enter, but he is now untapping the creature he gives indestructible. His -2 has been his -1 has been reworked to a -2 that says draw a card. You may put a creature card with mana value 2 or less from your hand onto the battlefield. If Tsubasa Shigane is attacking, that creature enters tapped and attacking. I think this is a really potent new -2 to add to Tsubasa's kit, and I'm excited to see if he's the final thing that this this ninja deck needed. Alrighty. I did not cover every change to Kitsuo in this video because there's a couple that are like just for limited, and this is more of a constructed focus. But if you're interested in those, you can go ahead and head to the Revolution News channel. Every single change is listed out for you to read through. All right, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in League. Bye-bye.